Hey, you know, some classic recipes have a lot of sugar in them. Like the recipe I'm making today. The classic version has a lot of sugar in it, and it's not necessary. If you like recipes, but you don't want to have all that sugar, subscribe to this channel. You get 2 recipes every week, and a lot of them have cut down the sugar. Like today's recipe. Cornbread. Awesome. Excellent. And it doesn't have to have a lot of sugar. This cornbread is more savory than it is sweet. That's from Texas, the big state. Let's get cooking. Hey, this is a quick bread. So like all quick breads, we do a muffin technique, right? We mix it muffin style, which means you got the wet ingredients, you got the dry ingredients. We're gonna bring them together. That's all. Very easy. That's why I like it. Nice and simple. Here we go. For our wet ingredients, we start with yogurt. I'm starting with Greek yogurt. I use the 5% fat Greek yogurt because this is the only fat I'm really using in this recipe. So it's okay to use a yogurt with some fat in it. And I'm adding 2 eggs. Hey, I'm using eggs in this recipe because I like the outcome. I like the way the bread tastes and feels. It's got that texture to it. If you don't want to use 2 eggs, you can use 2 tablespoons of chia seeds and 6 tablespoons of water. Put the chia seeds in the water, let them dissolve, and then they thicken up. It looks like egg whites with like little specks in it. Then you can throw that inside instead of the eggs. I'm using 2 eggs. You use whichever you like. Hey, 1 hand, that's great. Hey, don't forget a little bit of sweetness. I use some honey, I use 3 tablespoons. That's not a whole lot of sweetness, but just enough to give it a little bit of sweetness. Hey, this recipe doesn't have too much sugar in it, right? It's got a little honey in it. So we have to get some flavor going. And this is how we do it. You get this pan really high. You see it's starting to smoke. That's fantastic. I want to char some ingredients to give it some real good flavor. First thing I do is put on the vent. Alright, it's going to get a little smoky. I got some red pepper here. About a half a red pepper, which is about 3/4 of a cup. See that? Small dice. Like about 1/4 of an inch. Then I got some jalapenos. Look how small I diced those. About an 1/8 of, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. That's 1 jalapeno. Take the seeds out of the jalapeno first. Don't put the seeds in there. That's too spicy for cornbread. Then I'm going to add some corn. Hey, this is canned corn. Check that out. Alright, canned corn. That's okay. I drained it and then put paper towel in a bowl and put the corn in there to get most of that water out. I want it to be pretty dry. I'm going to add it to that pan. Hey, notice there's no extra oil in this pan. I'm just going to let it sit a little bit, and the bottom is going to get a little char on it, if that's what we want. Meanwhile, let's check out the dry ingredients. We start with 1 cup each. We got cornmeal and we have flour. White flour is fine. Here we got 4 teaspoons of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of cumin, that's going to give it a nice flavor. And 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Fantastic. Okay, so I put in the pan, let it sit. I gave it a mix, let it sit again for just a minute, and then it's ready. Hey, I took the corn and peppers out of the pan. What a great aroma. Hey, this smells great. You know what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to throw this in the freezer just for a few minutes, just to cool it off. I can't put it in the batter like that. It's too hot. Now I have to mix up my batter, so I just toss the dry ingredients a little bit together. Just to toss them together. And then I'm going to mix the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. Don't forget, in here we have 1 cup and 1/4 of the yogurt, 2 eggs, 3 tablespoons of honey. Okay, mix that up. Now I'm going to put that right into the dry ingredients. Hey, don't overmix these. What you do is you fold it in together. You see how you just turn them in together. It becomes a pretty solid batter, like a bread batter. You see that? Now we can take the vegetables, it's not too hot anymore, and add it. And the last thing we have to add for great flavor, 3 scallions sliced thin. Beautiful, nice flavor. Okay, this batter looks good. Look at that, that's a good looking batter. I'm using just a standard 8-inch bread pan. I want to spray it with some spray oil. Make sure you get the corners. That's where it's going to stick, if it's going to stick. I put this batter right into the pan. Okay, the batter goes in the pan. Ooh, it looks good. That's terrific. Hey, don't forget to preheat your oven. 350 degrees. This is going to cook for 50 minutes. Then we got to check it. It may need a little more time, but it's definitely going to cook for 50 minutes. I'll see you later. Hey, it's been 50 minutes. This bread smells terrific, like roasted corn. Fantastic. Let's take it out of the oven. Oh, that looks good. Check that out. That's delicious. Smells up the whole place. The aroma of the roasted peppers and the roasted corn and a little bit of jalapeno. That's great. You know what we got to do now? Let that sit for about 10 minutes so we can pop it out of that pan. Yeah, it's going to be good. Hey, you want to know why I put so much of that spray oil in the pan? All right. That's fantastic. Oh my God, that smells so good. Okay, so I'm going to take this now and just cool it off for like 2-3 hours. I'm going out to dinner tonight. I'm going to have some sushi. I love sushi. So I'll come back tonight and then I will slice this up and I'll show you what we do with it. Absolutely unbelievable. I'll see you later. Hey, I'm back from eating sushi and the bread is nice and cool. It's been a couple of hours. Perfect. Look at that. That's fantastic. All right, so I'm going to slice this up. I'm going to slice this up into about 1-inch slices. Want to see something beautiful? Check that out. That's fantastic. I'm not done yet. I take a tablespoon of vegan butter, put it in a pan. Let it melt about halfway. Okay. I get butter on one side, put the butter down, let it melt the rest of the way. Then I have this weight. I put the weight on top and let it get nice and toasty brown. Hey, that's going to toast the corn, toast the peppers, toast the jalapenos. It's going to be a whole different flavor. It's going to be delicious. Hey, while that's toasting, I'm going to wrap up the rest of these. I put them in the freezer and I save them for when I want to have them. I can put them in a pan and brown them up. Beautiful. Delicious. Have it for dinner with a cup of coffee, lunch, breakfast, anytime. It's nice and light and beautiful, delicious. Very nutritious. Hey, that's fantastic. You think that's great? Check out my coconut bread. That's also a great video. Great recipe. Check it out and I'll see you there.